Hi, it's your girl Pork Chop, and I'm back with day 2 at the campground. So grand rising to all the newcomers, and if you are new here, let me explain what we do here. Here at Daydreaming in the Garden, we break down hard to talk about topics, but in a so not hard to talk about way. So on my way down here, I had all plans of actually doing video essays as my normal routine with my normal concept. But on the way down here, I actually had this bright idea to do voiceover videos, and I ended up doing one for a TikTok a couple of days ago, and I really liked it. So I decided that I was going to try this concept with you guys as well and see if you liked it. If you do, please let me know in the comments, and I'll continue to do it this way. But I wanted my videos to be more interactive, entertaining, and informational, because at the end of the day, we are healing, but it doesn't have to be taken so serious. Now, don't get me wrong, healing is absolutely a serious endeavor, but it is something that I feel as though should be taken lightly and with love. And I felt as though my content at first was just kind of cramming a lot of information down you guys' throat without really interacting with you guys or actually getting to know you. And I am I'm big on personality. I should get some instant coffee too. So I GPSed where the nearest dollar store was, and there was one like 2 seconds down the street. And they also had some little packets of creamer, and the instant coffee came in some little creamers. Then I decided it was time to get my medicinal on. So after all that, we got out and stretched, and I absolutely loved the view. This was the view from my tent. It was front row view because it's off season, so it wasn't a lot of people out here, which made this actually serene and very peaceful. Now, today's topic is going to be on overconsumption and how I feel as though it is actually ruining us, and not only in a mental capacity, but physically, emotionally as well, and even our spirits can be affected by overconsumption. Now, I'm going to finish cleaning out this tent and getting everything all set up over here, because I woke up this morning and realized that this is why the video was actually inspired, that I had way too much stuff at my setup. It all sounds cute, but once you have to pack all that stuff up inside your tent at the end of the night, it's actually overwhelming. And I don't know about y'all, but I can feel very claustrophobic at times. So I decided that I was going to take the unnecessary things back to my car and just bring them down as I needed them, because most of it was just a lot of the stuff that I was going to use to cook, etc. And since I didn't have anywhere to cook right there at the campsite, and the pavilion was closer to the parking lot, I figured this would be an easier way to do it. But while I get dressed, overconsumption, whether it's substance, food, or media, can be damaging to the long-term effects of our body, mind, and spirit. It can also dull our pleasure senses and cause us to needing a deeper emotional need. And I found that very interesting as I came out here and realized how much I really thought were necessities that I absolutely did not need, and then got here and realized how much more stuff I was gonna actually need. So this is why I'm here, to show you guys exactly what you need in case you decide that you want to go camping and you don't end up like me and buy a whole bunch of stuff that really wasn't a necessity, but you thought it was, because creature comforts are real, guys. Anyways, on our last episode, we talked about mindfulness and self-awareness, and I feel like that is a big part of overconsumption. It goes hand in hand with it, because you have to be self-aware of the overconsumption and of yourself when we are overconsuming. Yesterday, I really realized that we really do get out here and decide that we need to eat all this food all the time, plus snacks, and it's really unnecessary. Like, it is okay, like there is the food pyramid or plate. Did it change? I think it changed. I don't know, I'm old. I remember I was talking to somebody earlier, and I was like, I remember when gas was like 99 cents a gallon. And I know this is gonna show my age, but I also remember when you could like have a backup battery for your phone, which in a content creator age, that seems like would be the perfect thing for a phone company to come out with. Like, I'm gonna have to get a second phone or something, and that's insane when all I really need is another battery. So anyway, I'm getting packed up to get ready to go up here to the pavilion so I could get ready to make breakfast. And as I was getting ready to pay for breakfast and realized how cold it was out here, it really made me think about the necessity of what I needed for breakfast. So I ended up packing eggs. This is the egg carton I got from Academy. I believe Walmart sells them as well. And it was like $5 or something. It's hard case plastic, so it keeps your eggs from breaking. And I can say that these things have been holding up pretty well in here. As y'all noticed, I actually forgot y'all that wasn't an editing mistake. I actually did forget y'all and decided to leave it in there. So now that we are up here, I found the grill and I went ahead and dumped it out, put some more charcoal in it. I really don't plan on cleaning it because I'm just going to use some aluminum foil on it and burn off whatever is already on here. And then I got my mess kit. To be honest, this was a perfect example of overconsumption. This mess kit actually came with a set of utensils, a plate, a smaller plate, a little frying pan, a cup that folds out, and then a smaller frying pan, like pot. And my thing is, it was too put together because the plate that came with the initial mess kit I thought was too small, but then I realized that it was actually perfect size portion for one person. I also brought my wooden spatula, and then I have my seasoning tower that I made out of the Dollar Tree makeup containers that I super glued the tops to the bottoms of the other ones. And so I was super excited about being out here and being able to cook. It is super cold, way colder than I expected it to be because it actually rained unexpectedly. I did check the weather before I came, and if you decide to go camping, checking the weather is helping. This is my meditation oil, medicinal oil, and then I have my butter as well. Then I have my ginger turmeric concoction because I am out here in this wet and this cold, and you always need to make sure you're taking your cough medicine, and that is my go-to cough medicine. I make it homemade. It's just minced ginger, turmeric, honey, and something else. And I let these for later on tonight that I plan on putting on the grill. Then I realized I didn't have anything to wash my hands with, and I was going to need some more charcoal. It has been raining since last night, but look at God. Is that the song I see player? What y'all doing? Oh, she trying to pop out like a bad bitch with 2 kids. Ah! Oh, thank God. The sun came out, bitch. She decided to shine his light on us. Love it. Do you think the sun's a boy? So this is where my intrusive thoughts started running wild, and they won. Interesting. I don't know. I think the higher power is a woman. So fight me. Oh, what did I come out here for? Oh, more charcoal. So, the important thing I didn't think was gonna be a thing. Mats for the ground. Cause baby, the way I be in and out this motherfucker, and it's been raining, it's crazy. I'm thinking about getting a GoPro and doing a lot more content like this summer. My coffee face. Back to the overconsumption. The overconsumption is real because I realized that maybe we just overeat. So we got back to the campground, and as I was talking about, I think that, like a lot of us, we really don't understand what a single serving size looks like. Because I was thrown off when I looked at that. I was like, this is way too small. But it was a single serving size. And I know that I have been on a health journey, and I know what a single serving size looks like. But that plate just looked so small to me. But like I said, self-awareness and mindfulness can really help us recognize when we are over-consuming out of pure overconsumption and not out of a necessity. So I really do feel as though that is plays a major part in everything that we do is self-awareness and mindfulness. And one thing that I can say that I've learned on this healing journey is that intention is going to be your best friend. We have to think and act with intention. But as I was sitting here waiting on the grill to actually get to cooking with hot grease, baby, I went ahead and put my stainless steel cup on there so my coffee could warm back up because it had gotten cold. And that made me think about how easy and convenient a microwave is. Like, we really don't understand how easy and convenient our lives have become with the modern technologies. And for anybody that was out here thinking that I was out here on a survival expedition, no, this is not Naked and Afraid. I did not come out here to be not living with modern technology. It is 2025, and until Walking Dead is an actual thing and the world goes to shit, I will be using the modern technologies that the gods have given us. So please do not get on here talking about how I didn't really get to go camping, because you're gonna be really upset later on throughout this video. So if that's what you came to see, please go ahead and exit now, because that is not what I came here to give. I came here to give peace, and I am not going to be out here stressed out camping, especially my first time by myself. So please don't put that type of pressure on me, and I won't expect it. Thank you so much. And I just, I had to get that fire going. We was popping like good grease by this point. So I decided that it was time for me to go ahead and talk to you guys a little bit more about overconsumption. Being out here has made me realize that overconsumption can really disconnect you from not only yourselves, but from the people around you. And I realized that because at the end of the day, now I did go camping, but I still had a lot of my modern technologies that really weren't a necessity, like my iPad, which I really felt like I was going to need, but actually did not need at all. And then I thought about it, and I realized that I actually didn't need that in life at all. And it's just too late to take it back. So I'm going to keep it because my daughter does love it, but it genuinely was not a necessity. It was just something that I thought I needed because I thought I needed it, and here we are. So, and I went back to the campground after I got them turkey necks on and got them smoked, because I just plan on throwing them in the beans, so they're gonna warm up in the pot of beans anyway. And I decided to go ahead and sit down for a little while and do a little thinking, a little meditation, a little workity work and all that good stuff. And then after I did all that, it was the time for me to take the stuff that I decided was not a necessity back up to my car. Now, mind you, some of these things are necessities, but they aren't necessities that I need at the campsite right here at my tent. And I just wanted to be able to make room and be able to breathe while I was in here relaxing. So I decided to take my cooler and my cooler bag and my non-perishable foods that I wasn't going to need right then and there back to the place. Now, I did make a scrambled egg sandwich for breakfast, but it was on Facebook Live, and I couldn't figure out how to download it, so I just didn't stress about it. So we're going to take those into the bathroom, and the first thing we're going to do is wipe off all the excess food. Let me state that we're going to wipe this off into the trash can before we begin, because we don't want to have food in these folks' sink. We also don't want to have food in their plumbing system and have their plumbing backed up. We want to be considerate of everything that is going on this campground property. And let me go ahead and state that I really wish that y'all, and make sure that y'all are taking good care of these folks' property and you're leaving it just as you found it. Now, after we finish wiping everything down, we're going to go ahead and wash everything and then wipe them down with paper towels, and then wipe down the countertops as well, because as I said, we want to leave it just as we found it, and we want to leave it cleaner, actually. Because at the end of the day, these are hardworking people who have worked hard in order to build this campground for us to enjoy. So we want to make sure that we are taking care of it just as well, because we want to make sure just as we are taking care of ourselves, we are taking care of the things that are around us, because just what you put into the world is what you get out of it. So please make sure that you are putting in kindness, respect, cleanliness. Let's all make sure that we are bringing positivity into the world and not just here destroying it, and just intentionally destroying it with any remorse. And that brings me to another thing with self-awareness. Being self-aware also means being self-aware of other people and being able to accept who they are and what they have going on as well. And the overconsumption of the wrong type of people can also leave you in a detrimental state of mind and sometimes in a state of living. So please make sure you are not over-consuming on horrible people that mean good intentions and have no good intentions towards you. Let's make sure that we are always aiming towards surrounding ourselves with people who love us and care about us. And we are over-consuming on love. If anything, let's over-consume on healthy love that has boundaries and can be set in place. And look at my clean dishes, boom. And so we're gonna pack everything up and get ready to head on out the door. and head back to the campsite. So this is the tent once I finally got all the overconsumption out of it and had just the bare necessities in here of what I actually needed. Then I opened my tent door again and decided to go ahead and do some reading. After that, I went ahead and decided that the temp was going to drop after I checked the weather because it's supposed to rain pretty hard later on today. So I went and got another tarp. I had went to Walmart last night and got the one that I just pulled off, but it was too small and the ventilation wasn't covered completely. And with the temp dropping like it's supposed to drop tonight, I really just decided that I needed another tarp in order to keep in some more heat and insulate it a little bit better. This is a very good idea if you have a tent that has a top vent roof or whatever, because it's basically just mesh and it didn't have any type of zippers for me to be able to zip that part up to bring in more insulation, which I hate. So I'm probably going to end up getting a different type of tent now that I know what I need and what I'm looking for. As I said, I bought this one from Academy for like $40 just to see if I really wanted to do it. Then I went ahead to put the rain fly back on to keep not only the tarp from coming down, but to keep the rain from getting through the mesh roof. And for some reason, I couldn't get it together. And that's one thing that I started thinking about as I was doing this as well, is how we'll try to take shortcuts and do stuff the easy way, and and then you just end up having to start all the way over. It's actually what I ended up having to do is just completely taking the whole rain fly off and doing it all the way over again, because at first I was trying to just unhook two sides and then just adjust it from there, but that was not working for me. So I just ended up taking it down completely and then redoing it from there. And that's another thing that I started thinking about, is that we live in a world that pushes us to constantly consume, constantly buy, constantly eat, constantly go out, constantly be frivolous with our money, constantly just be seen. And one thing I realized is that I battle a lot with overconsumption of media because of the simple fact that I am the aspiring and somewhat content creator that I am. And I know that there is times where a break needs to be taken from social media, and that is exactly what this was for me to be able to take a break, not only from the content, but just from the everyday hustle and bustle of the fast-paced life and the constant need to consume things. And the crazy thing is I got down here and still was consuming. I have been buying shit left and right. Then I finally got the rain fly on, success. Then it was starting to get dark and the storm was starting to come in, so it was time to go and get in the crib and just chill out for a bit. I brought y'all in with me because this is where we're gonna be for most of the day, and if it rains like it's supposed to rain tomorrow, this is where we'll be as well. I also bought me a stove top because it's gonna be raining hard as shit, and I'm not gonna be out there trying to grill or starting a fire in the rain. And I didn't bring an MRE or any type of anything, so I went ahead and got the stove top so I could go ahead and do my black eyed peas for my dinner tonight, which brought me to another thing about overconsumption, because I actually had thought about making a whole meal tonight and decided that was just not in the cards. So I'm gonna just do the beans. And I just decided that at some point we do have to realize that could, like, our old folks was right. That is just a meal, like a little turkey meat, a little black eyed peas. I was actually gonna do cornbread and didn't even do it because I was just kind of exhausted, y'all. Like, to be honest, just the mental preparation of having to think about building a fire just to be able to warm up your coffee is actually kind of exhausting when you're so used to overconsumption and the easiness and convenience of the 2025 and everyday life that we have now. So it really brings appreciation back to the old days and back to like my great grandma and the things that she has done in order to survive and be able to keep my grandma alive, in order for her to have my daddy and keep him alive, in order for her to keep me alive, so it's like there's a lot of things that I've learned throughout this and a lot of appreciation that is going into a lot of different people as I go on this journey. I'm really starting to understand that less can absolutely be more, and that simplicity can absolutely be an astounding thing. And it is amazing to me how something like just spending a day or two outside and on a campsite can bring about so many different type of revelations. And I'm really just enjoying my time out here with this. I even went to the dollar store And I got me a little cup of green tea because, as I said, Mother Nature decided to visit me when I decided to visit her. And this was completely unplanned. So I do not plan on doing much tomorrow unless the sun decides to come out so I can recharge this beautiful melanin of mine. And to be honest, being out here has definitely sparked my creativity in so many different ways, and I'm super excited. But I went ahead and poured the water off of my beans when they were soaking and put some more water on them and threw them on the stove top. And then I went ahead and unpacked all the things that I were going to be using to cook with for today because, as I said, I left the bulk of my cooking supplies up at the front and only brought down what I was going to absolutely need. So I went ahead and threw some seasonings in that thing, and then I realized I was going to throw some butter in there, but decided it wasn't necessary. I found my Sazon packets and went ahead and threw some Sazon up in that thing as well. And then I went ahead and took my spoon off of my utensil carrier and mixed my beans up. And while my beans decided to start cooking, I went ahead and decided that I was going to take me a couple of medicinal gummies and get ready to go take me a shower as well. I do have to say that I feel as though overconsumption is also a suppressant towards not healing or something that distracts us from healing, so to speak. And I would like to make sure that I'm adding in here that we all need to make sure that we are still intentionally trying to heal regardless of what we are consuming. Make sure if you're going to overconsume, it is in a positive light at some point. I'm sure that it sounds crazy to hear that positive overconsumption can be a thing, but I genuinely do feel as though it may be. I went ahead and took out my cutting board and my knife and got my onion out in order to go ahead and chop that up. There's my wake and bake cup, and I'm going to go ahead and chop up these onions. Got my spoon out and got out my scoop. I really brought the scoop because I really wanted to use it. I don't know. It's something about it that gives me this cowboy energy that I'm really liking. And I'm just, as I said, I'm on my healing journey. So I went ahead and got me some more ginger and turmeric, my cough syrup concoction, and took me some more of that because I'm out here in this cold wilderness and 40-degree weather and it's raining. So, and I refuse to go home sick. Like, I just don't have it in me to be sick for a week. So make sure if you're going out here, you taking your immune boosters and you got your cold suppressants and whatnot. And then, I looked at my beans to see how they was boiling because I heard them things was over there doing a little much. So I went ahead and got my spoon for them and went ahead and tasted my broth, and I was satisfied. As you can see, I was very satisfied with what I had done there. You can tell from the exhaustion. Oof, yes, you get satisfaction. You know it's good when you got to hit the cigarette afterwards. And on another note, overconsumption. I know that nicotine is a really big thing when it comes to dopamine hits, and it's a craving. And it's one of those things that becomes a really bad habit. And it's really making me wonder, like, I started using vapes a while back, and I've come to realize that is not a good alternative. It is actually just a second habit because now I actually just crave vapes and crave nicotine. So when I get back home, I actually do plan on getting me some nicotine patches and starting that because I just refuse to be tethered down by cigarettes and vapes. Then I went ahead and got my cup out and wiped it out from the coffee that I had in it earlier. And on another note, I don't even think I like coffee. I think I'm just going to become a tea person because coffee really messes with my anxiety. But I do love how it is a natural laxative. I'm not gonna lie, because it cleans your girl out pretty well this morning. So that was another thing I was battling today as well. Of course, it's always something when you out here. Then I had to measure my cup to see if my noodles would fit in it because I felt like that was a perfect cup to make noodles in whenever I am out and about, and down to my bare necessities because I do plan to go backpacking at some time this fall once I'm a little more experienced, and I'm pretty scared, but I'm excited about that as well. But back to overconsumption, we really have to remember that when we overconsume, we are not actually nourishing our bodies. We are actually abusing it in such a way that it's very unexplainable, and in some ways it's very unnoticeable if you are not self-aware, which is why being self-aware is such a key to your healing journey. Being self-aware and being real are going to be your biggest helpers in your healing journey. And I'm sorry to tell you that if you can't be real with yourself, you are not going to be able to make it through this healing journey. unscathed. I mean, going through a healing journey is something you're not gonna make it through unscathed regardless, but you definitely gonna have a lot of problems because you are pushing against the current, and that's just not how things work. You gotta be able to be real with yourself and be able to have a bird's eye view or a third's eye view on yourself and your surroundings, because as I said, the overconsumption of media, the overconsumption of food, the overconsumption of substances, and the overconsumption of people can leave you lonely. As crazy as it sounds, you can overconsume and still end up just as lonely as you were before you did it. And sometimes even worse. So let's start practicing mindfulness. Let's start practicing self-awareness. Let's really take intention on this healing journey and be intentional with ourselves. And as a content creator that knows how content creators are, I do understand that there are a lot of content creators out here who preach healing, who preach self-awareness, who preach all these things and don't try to live up to those standards. And I am someone who genuinely tries to practice what I preach, because at the end of the day, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I'm not doing this for y'all. I'm doing this for me. And it just so happens that with me doing it for me, I am also helping y'all, which is what's making my ADHD stay so stable during this journey, because it is something that I genuinely want to do. Which brings me to another point, is you have to genuinely want to heal in order for it to be a thing. I remember wanting to heal, but not really wanting to change. And that is a part of healing. You have to want to change. And to be real, a lot of that is going to involve over consuming on quietness, on loneliness. It's over consuming on researching healthy habits and researching triggers. It's over consuming on things that are going to lead you into a new path. Over consuming on the things that you have been over consuming on have only left you feeling empty, lost, and abandoned. So why not over consume on things that are a little better, that make your life just a little bit better? I'm not sure if y'all noticed, I showed y'all my egg carton one more time just because I really like this egg carton. I'm probably use it at the house too. Then I even brought some of my probiotic sodas and some orange juice for in the morning. I'm looking towards cooking breakfast in the tent, but just depending on how things go, I might be able to go to the grill, so we'll see what happens. And then I was looking at my protein powder mix to make sure everything was cool with that, and put that over there to the side because it is a non-perishable. This is my cooler bag, so everything that I'm trying to keep cool is gonna go in here. And I'm really just proud of you guys for being here. I'd like to say that. And then I had some ice in my Stanley cup that I had brought from the big cooler from my car that I put in here to make sure that everything stays cool. And back to me being proud of you, because I am actually proud of you. You are amazing, and I am so happy to have you on this journey, because at the end of the day, you are choosing you. And what better place to be than at a place of self-love and wanting to have self-love and intentionally going about finding self-love within not only yourself but within the world. Because at the end of the day, what you put into yourself and what you put into the world is what you shall receive. And when we decide to look at ourselves and be like, this is no longer what I want to deal with, this is no longer what I want to attract, I have to stop being what I am attracting, is when we start actually changing. You cannot think that you are going to attract anything less than what you are, or anything different when you are yourself are no different. So I went ahead and got ready to cut my onion up, because I am all right. Now that I'm back from the shower, I'm gonna go ahead and get my onion cut up, and since my beans are just about done, to get ready to throw this in here, because I am somebody who actually enjoys onions, so I don't mind them being in my beans. I don't want to boil them down to nothing just to have onion flavor. This isn't coming towards anybody that doesn't like onions. I'm just saying that that's why I waited to the last minute to put them in there. And on our last episode, we was talking about embracing loneliness, and one thing I realized was when I was cooking yesterday at the grill, I got on Facebook Live, and I had to ask myself, did I really get on Facebook Live because I wanted to have some content, content because I actually never get on Facebook Live. So I was like, is this me trying to avoid loneliness? And then that made me come to the conclusion that yes, it is. And overconsumption of media is one of our easiest ways to avoid healing because of the simple fact that we can instantly connect with complete strangers and have absolutely no ties or strings to the situation. And that can be dangerous because at the end of the day, when you are on a healing journey, you do have to be self-aware of that and be able to be mindful of that and deter from using social media to avoid healing. Because when you are alone, when you are healing, you are constantly being reminded of things that hurt you, things from your past, things that no longer serve you, or things that still serve you right now, but you are trying to get away from them. You start. It's like the ocean and how it can bring up things that have been. It can bury things deep into the ocean, or the tidal waves can actually bring things up. If I don't know if I said that right, it's something about being on camera that makes me stupid. Like, I cannot structure my words correctly when I get on camera, and I'm sure it's just nerves, which I'm working on, which is something that we talked about yesterday in another one of the segments of the video, was how we have to learn to be self-aware and mindful of our emotions. And one thing about social media is it will have you out here on a emotional overload, because you can immediately get on here and be angry. I have come to the conclusion that I no longer get on social media within the first couple of minutes of the day because of this, and it has worked wonders for me. Now we get ready to go ahead and get dinner out the way so I can get ready to go ahead and lay down. I'm exhausted and it's just been a really long day. And this is the beans. I went ahead and added the turkey that I had smoked earlier. I'm going to add a little bit more water, and I'm going to get ready to eat and call it a night. Now, let me go ahead and say that again. Let me remind you that overconsumption is a thing. I am going to go ahead and make me some tea before I get ready to lay down because these cramps are whooping my behind. But let's remember that mindfulness and self-awareness can defeat overconsumption, and that overconsumption doesn't have to be a bad thing, that you can find light within anything. So if you are going to overconsume, make sure it is something that is nourishing your body, it is feeding your soul, and it is giving you a pathway on your way and through your healing journey. Make sure that you are following the trail that leads you unto a better life, a better you, not only for your kids, if you have any, but for those around you and the world in general. But because it is enough dirty people in this world, we are all fighting enough, and it is just time for us to all sit back and reflect and think on who we really want to be and what we really want, and to go after that with full intention. I want to thank you all for stopping by and joining me on my healing journey, and I want to thank you for letting me be a part of yours. Bye. Now, although we talk about these hard to swallow topics in a not so serious manner, mental health is something that should be taken seriously. And if you or anyone you know is suffering from a mental health crisis, please reach out to someone. There is someone out there who does care about you, and they are here for you. And if not,